I named the price, which was double what I had named before. They were happy with it. They were like, how long? And I was like, as long as it takes.
That's bold.
I kid you not, when she saw that, her eyes glistened and it was a smile that she was holding back. I could tell I nailed the design.
The way I think about it, immersion is actually a great way to articulate the unsaid.
I wake up from this dream.
Yep.
I wake up from this dream.
It is worth noting, I think, that there is an element of withstanding pressure with this process.
I'm a coffee person, so I usually go and get my coffee first, come back, chill for a little bit. Nah, not today.
Hello and welcome to Season 3 of the Push podcast. My name's Jack Ferguson, an experienced brand strategist with a science background. In my career, I've worked across 25 industries and helped increase client and employer revenue by over $40 million. I will be your host. This season of the podcast is essential listening for marketers looking to better sell their strategies to stakeholders, get client buy-in, and keep internal teams engaged. Thanks for being here, and don't forget to subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on.
Hello and welcome to Season 3, Episode 61 of the Push podcast. This episode's co-host is brand identity designer Tutai Marongere. This is the second episode Tutai has featured in this season. Please listen to episode 59 after this one if you want to hear us talk about optimizing for unpredictable outcomes, positive wastage, and spillage. Tutai has over a decade of experience helping businesses look and feel like they mean business and has worked across numerous industries including retail, medical, professional services, hospitality, and cosmetics. You can find links to both of our online presences in the description of this episode. Please enjoy. Tutai, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing today, Jack?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for jumping on and chatting to me.
Thank you for having me on again. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. We're going to be talking about today disproportionate leverage, which sounds very vague and nondescript, but the topic or the concept of how to do that, we were going to share stories around immersion and how we've used that in our work to produce disproportionate leverage and better outcomes. And especially as AI becomes more of a prominent feature in what everyone does, this is part of the process that can't be done by AI. Well, I don't think it's going to be able to be done by AI. And this is a concept that I have pushed and wanted to do in general over time. You're not always able to do it. You don't always have the freedom to do it. But I think that it is so effective. I guess we'll talk about why through the stories we're going to share. But when you deeply understand something, when you immerse yourself in a brand so deeply, the solution after that point becomes very obvious. That's been my experience. To my understanding, that's been your experience as well. So I think we should just share some stories about how we've used immersion to generate that leverage and just give people, just spark some ideas about how they could use the concept themselves in their own work. So hit us with what you've got, Tutai. We're listening.
Okay. The story that comes to mind, I would say, shaped how I work, how I think about things, and how much of myself I give a client. When I say how much of myself, I truly mean being immersed in everything that they do. There was a point where I was selling designs for a very low price, like ridiculously low, embarrassingly low. Long story short, I doubled my prices, kept doubling my prices, and got to a place where I was able to create and given a space to create things of quality that aligned with what the client needs. In this particular case, so one day I get a phone call and this lady's telling me, oh, I got your number from so-and-so. And I'm like, oh, I know so-and-so. You know so-and-so too? It's like, yeah, I know so-and-so. I just flew back to Brazil and so-and-so were like, hit this guy up for some designs. They really wanted a logo to start off with. And we said, I was like, okay, let's catch up and we'll go through everything. Let's not assume you need a logo, but let's sit down and see what your needs are, and then we can talk logistics, costs, whatever the case may be. So we sat down. I named the price, which was higher, double what I had named before. They were happy with it. They were like, how long? And I was like, as long as it takes.
That's bold.
Yes, it was bold. It was bold. It was the first time I'd ever said that, but I meant it.
I was just going to ask that question, yeah.
Yeah, it was, I really did genuinely mean it, because the client was in a space that one, had never heard of before. And two, I did not want to compromise quality, and we hit it off. I was just being genuine, being honest. I don't know how long it's going to take to do something of quality. If you want something now, really, I didn't say this, but bring me a piece of paper. I got a pen. We'll create something now.
Mm-hmm.
However, that wasn't the case.
Did this just come to you in the moment when you were speaking to them?
When I said however long it takes, yes, it just came to me in the moment.
You didn't plan that?
I didn't plan that, no.
Okay, interesting.
I was just being honest, being genuine.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, she was writing a book, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Can I have a read? Of which I'm dyslexic, so it takes me so long to finish a book, right? But I really wanted to know what the hell. The space was in addiction, a very niche space within addiction. And for me to get understanding of what they do, I needed to understand the space first and then funnel down into what they do specifically. So it entailed quite a bit. But I'll go back to that meeting. So from that meeting, we organized a book. And I started reading that book maybe about a month after, because we were in contact pretty much every day, because I'd be asking questions. I have no idea. This person is, she's a doctor and she can explain things to the layman. So I'll be reading the stuff and I'll be like, what is this in English, right? And, it gets explained to me. And every year should hold these functions. And this Feb was going to be another function. And within these functions, people come from New Zealand, Australia, the UK, and then they share stories and get, I guess you would call it guidance. And I was like, you know what? I'm really interested in attending one of these. Do you think people will be okay with me doing that? It's like, yeah, cool. Yeah, of course. Gave me the address and everything. What time do you start? Told me the starting time and everything. And I was like, no, what time will you get there? So I believe the event started around 10. They started setup around 7. And I was like, I'll see you at setup. So I went there, helped set up everything. You have your PowerPoints and everything. I'm helping with the setting up the PowerPoints and everything. Like I'm not a techie, but I'll call myself technologically adjacent. So I know enough to know enough. So helping them set up everything. And I got to meet people. People were comfortable. They knew who I was. People were comfortable sharing stories with me. And if you can think of the space, this is addiction. So some of these stories are super intimate. And I felt honored people being comfortable enough to share these sorts of stories with me. And I got some insight that I would never have gotten. Got to the point where after leaving that one event, it was like a whole different world that I was unaware of. Bear in mind, this is just a month in, right? And I'm still reading the book.
Yep. You haven't opened a design program. You haven't picked up a pen. You haven't picked up a pencil. Yeah.
Nothing.
So you haven't actually started any physical designs at this point?
Not physically.
Yes. Yep.
No. Yes. So nothing. And then the pressure starts mounting in a nice way. So when am I going to see the designs? And those questions started coming in, and I was very honest. I was like, not yet, but when you get them, it would be perfect. You'll get exactly what is right for you. And I was given that space. She didn't push too much. She was like, okay, this person is genuine. I can see the time is being invested. And it's a bit weird, right? That somebody wants to know this much about what I do. But it was appreciated. So far as she gave me private lessons as well. I read through literature with her. She would explain things like that. We did that twice a week. Sometimes it would be as if I'm maybe a patient, and sometimes it would be for me to grasp concepts, that sort of thing. It took about 3 months, I believe, just going through this whole process. At this point, the questions had stopped, like, when am I getting these designs? Then one day, I have a dream about the completed designs. Everything is done. There's a clinic. There's people there. We're having another function or whatever it may be. I wake up from this dream.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I wake up from this dream, go through the whole morning routine. I get into the shower. I usually brush before I get into the shower. So after brushing my teeth, I get into the shower.
Mm-hmm. Don't know where this is going.
So it's super misty. I really love warm showers. So it's like super. This was I believe this was it summer? It wouldn't have been summer. It was. Anyway, it's
you like misty showers, okay? Right.
Yes, and there's condensation on the glass there. My eyes are closed because I hate, when you get the soap in your eyes. I always try and avoid that.
Okay, sure. We're talking about our showering techniques.
Okay, so my bad. Let me get back to the point.
This isn't one of those podcasts.
let me get
your
back
eyes are closed.
Track.
Okay, cool. Your eyes are closed. It's misty. I've got you.
Yes, my eyes are closed. It's misty. I open them up because now I have this idea. I recall something from that dream from last night, and I draw something on the glass. I was going to say doodle, but I drew something on the glass.
Yep, with your finger.
On the glass. Yes,
gotcha.
Specifically with my finger, yes.
Yes.
And this thing that I drew is the mark that I had dreamt of. That's what I could really remember. From there, got ready and got to work. Sat down at the desk. Usually I switch on my computer. That whole process of you switch on your computer, get your desk right. I'm a coffee person, so I usually go and get my coffee first, come back, chill for a little bit. Nah, not today. Straight to my desk, open the drawer, take out the pen and the paper. I'm a bit weird because the paper's black and the pen is white because I'm a weirdo. But that's what works for me.
No one would have thought that from this story so far. Don't worry.
So I come up with a copious amount of designs within like 30 minutes. I believe it would have been way over 100 marks I came up with. And not iterations of the original one, but new ones.
Wow, 100 different concepts.
Kept on gravitating towards that original concept and then started fleshing it out. Designed it maybe in 10 minutes on computer production because you know exactly what needs to go there. After doing that, I called her and I was like, let's catch up on Friday. This would have happened maybe on a Monday or Tuesday. I did not want to say, let's catch up tomorrow because I had something else planned. I had something in mind, which was the first time I had ever done that. What I used to do is I would present a PDF with different lockups and SKUs of the logo, maybe a few images in there. And that was a presentation. I'd sell the logo that way. If we're in person, I'd print it out and show them, oh, this is how it looks. And no, not this time around. I did a full-on presentation with stylescapes. I guess the best way to put it is how it would look like in real life. And when we caught up on that Friday, I kid you not, like we sat down, we had a bit of a chat. She was super excited to see the designs and everything. Obviously a bit anxious as well because you don't know what to expect. This dude has been hanging around for 3 months and just like, what's going on here?
Yeah. Hope he hasn't dished up some crap, right? Exactly. That would be so disappointing.
Am I going to get a stick figure? What's going on? Yeah. So typically I would first show it in black and white, which explains why I use black paper and white pen. Because I want to show the simplest version of that logo without color or anything. I kid you not, when she saw that, her eyes glistened and it was a smile that she was holding back. I could tell I nailed the design. Mm-hmm. And it was history from there. Like, literally said, this is the one. We went through everything. I was like, okay, let's go through the other ones. When I got to the end of the presentation for that logo, she was like, this is it. Now, I usually also supply other designs because you don't want to be closed-minded. You want to show other directions. She was not hearing that. She's like, nah, this is the one.
I don't even want to see your other work. Yeah.
Don't even. You've nailed it. You've encapsulated everything that we were about. You obviously have an understanding. I know because I've quizzed you, like literally quizzed you. You've met the people, you know what they're like. And it went from just a logo to everything. She was like, I want you to do everything for me. And whatever you need, just make it happen.
Well, if someone's dreaming about the brand, they probably know exactly what the brand is. I mean, that should be the ultimate win for a client is, are they dreaming about my brand? I mean, so many clients would love to infiltrate so many people at that level that even in your subconscious or where you're sleeping, you can't escape the brand. But that's a good benchmark. Am I immersed? Well, did I dream about it? Not yet. Well, you're not immersed enough yet.
It's funny you should say that, but I do believe that. From a design perspective, I do believe that.
Well, it's a proxy that if you're dreaming about it, it's time to do the actual designs.
If I haven't dreamt about it, I'm not deep enough in there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm a weirdo, mate.
No. And I do push for immersion as well. One of the ways that I do it, it's not just immersion for me necessarily, but it's immersion for the client too, is I'll push for recorded video interviews of their customers so that they can go back and listen to them, because you can give them the transcript or you can give them even a summary. It's not the same. It's not the same as listening to your customers say it, the way they say it, and just absorbing the things that aren't written down, maybe not as immersed as you were in the experience going to the event, but more immersion than just a summary, right? Because you're starting to strip it off of everything at that point. And the way I think about it, and it sounds like you've done it here as well, is that immersion is actually a great way to articulate the unsaid, because if you ask someone a question or you ask them about their brand, they will answer it usually, especially if they're a client, they'll answer, but that's limited. There's a limited amount of information they can get across to you. And it's somewhat theoretical, like they're answering it in a vacuum, like they're answering it in an interview with you. The client might know something, but if you don't ask that question about that thing, they don't know to tell you. Yes. Or they may not have articulated that before. They might know it subconsciously, but you need to actually drag it out. And I think immersion is a good way to protect against that, to try and reduce the likelihood that you actually miss something, or that they didn't tell you something important, but not because they didn't want to, but just because it hasn't been articulated before, or it just wasn't brought to anyone's attention. And like you, I think you get to a point with immersion, if you're using these type of techniques, where you just know.
Yes.
You just know what to do. In my case, it's a strategy more so than the design. But I think to myself, okay, I know this brand now. But without immersing yourself, you can't really do it. I don't think, to a high degree. It reminds me of society widely is very, in my opinion, prescription heavy. And this concept of immersion, I feel, is 95% diagnostic, 5% prescription.
What do you mean by prescription heavy?
Well, you could look at something like a lot of people are encouraged to just go to the doctor for 15 minutes, right? So the doctor gives them a prescription or gives them a solution. But did they really get the diagnosis right in that time to actually give a quality prescription? Which is an issue, I think, with the system, though. And it's the same with a lot of places. And granted, you understand they want a solution. But if you don't diagnose something properly, how can you optimize the solution for that thing? Because if your diagnostic's wrong, you're solving a poorly defined problem. And yeah, like to me, this like immersion, like this is the pursuit of truth, right? Like you're pursuing truth within this brand. So yeah, those are a few things that come to mind just as you're talking through that.
Yeah, I love the subject. It's truly, it's my jam.
One other thing you noted in there, because things are oriented around prescription more so, I would say, than diagnostics or immersion. Or sometimes people just think they know, and maybe they do. But, okay, how do I know, or how do other people know, though, if you can't articulate it? And you can act in a way and make decisions in a way that if you understand something subconsciously, you'll make decisions in line with that. Yeah, that's fine. But when you need to go beyond that, that's where you start to get into trouble. And it is worth noting, I think, that there is an element of withstanding pressure with this process. Like you were getting asked, oh, when am I going to see some outputs? People want the end thing, right? They want the tangible end thing, which is fair enough, but that's part of the cost. You'll probably have to withstand pressure and to try and get them to understand that we're nearly there, but we're not quite there. Because like you, I get to a point where I just know that I've got enough now to actually start to strategize.
Yeah, I totally agree.
All right. Well, thank you very much for jumping on today. Maybe let people know where they can find you, and also any closing thoughts on immersion.
I'll start off with where people can find me. You can find me at linkedin.com/in/TUTAI. So my name, that's Tango, Uniform Tango, Alpha Indigo.
Oh, that's clever.
Phonetics right there, right?
Nice.
And I believe that immersion is really where you get into the details. So if you want anything of quality, quality is always about the details and how far into those details you're willing to go. And if you're going for quality and longevity, it's immersion. And there's no two ways about that.
I think brands might start to embrace this a bit more as the AI world comes along, and not because it's more effective, but just because they'll see that AI can do outputs faster. So maybe people will be more open to this concept soon. Not because it's more effective or it wasn't effective before, but because the culture might change where people start to become more open to it. But awesome to talk to you today, Tutai. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on again.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Push Podcast. Please remember to subscribe, and if you are enjoying the episodes, please leave a review of the podcast on your platform of choice. It really helps to build the podcast credibility and to help others find this type of information.